Good evening and welcome to the Patriot, Blaze Bayley.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for taking the time to talk to us here, Metal Planet Music, stroke with the Patriot. Absolute pleasure having you here. It's not your first time, is it?
No, I've been here, I think it's 3 times. I think it was, once or twice before the refurb and twice since, I think. I think I did here once acoustic as well. I don't know, I'm just terrible.
The years blurred, haven't they?
Yeah, and I do so many different things. So sometimes I've done classical acoustic with Thomas Fyson and with my solo band, and also we came in with Wolfsbane as well last time, and it was absolute riot, brilliant. I love it here, and it's nice to be in South Wales, but away from Cardiff and Newport and Swansea, the places that we always go to.
Yeah.
So to be here in Crumlin, it's nice.
Yeah.
Nice difference.
Ange and her crew, it's definitely their ambition to put this on the map as a rock venue, alongside the likes of, say, the Waterloo, Battlements.
Well, it's absolutely beautiful. The venue upstairs, the way that I've done it, is absolutely fantastic.
And we're privileged to have artists like yourself wanting to play here. It's quite something. You think back, the first time I saw you live was back 1990, opening for Maiden in the De Montfort at Leicester.
Yeah, that was a really big gig for us because it was fairly local as well. Of course,
the Midlands, yeah.
Yeah, for Wolfsbane, so I remember that being a really big, important gig for us. We supported in all over the UK. I think it was 30 shows.
It was a massive tour, yeah.
All in theatres and the venues that Maiden had got to. That was their farewell to those venues, really. It was a real privilege to do it, and I remember it being a really big, important gig playing in Leicester.
And more ways than one, because a matter of 4 years later, you took the reins on the vocal duties.
Did I? 4 years, was it?
Yeah, wow. 94, yeah.
Wow. Because I wouldn't have thought that it was so close.
It was, because when we caught you live down at the Cobblestones a couple of years back, I checked the dates and it's like, no one walking out of that venue that night would have known.
No, I thought we were really... Cathy Wilson album came out on that tour for Wolfsbane, All Hell's Breaking Loose at Little Cathy Wilson's place, and we really thought that was going to do it, that we'd actually get somewhere, but with different management and different label things, then really it just stalled, and instead of being able to go and do our own European tour and capitalise on the little bit of fame and notoriety that we got by supporting Iron Maiden, the record company and management at the time just dropped the ball and we did nothing. And by the time we came out with our next album, everybody had really forgotten us. All the momentum that we had as a band was lost, and we never did a tour that was the Cathy Wilson, All Hell's Breaking Loose at Little Cathy Wilson's house. We never did a tour for our own headline tour for that album, and that was really the demise because of grunge and everything else. And then EMI and a lot of other big labels selling their manufacturing facilities, they all thought that downloads and MP3, all of that, they thought that was the future and they wouldn't have to have factories and make bits of plastic anymore. They got rid of all that. But there were some people who said, you know what, vinyl's going to come back and it's going to cost twice what CDs are. If you remember when CDs came out, they cost twice what vinyl did.
Yeah.
So we never asked for those things. It's a convenient format. I like the format of CDs, but the actual sound and the quality, what they told us back then that it was going to be, it was a lie. It was an absolute lie. There is more information contained on a vinyl album, information, music, than there is on a CD, because the CDs were limited at the time. That's how come after CD you get Super Audio CD, and all of these formats which, because computing power has gone up, it was never about the actual physical CD, it was always about the computers only being able to put 16-bit, we think it's clear enough, let's have a new format and make a load of money off it. Not, let's have something really musical and beautiful.
Because at the end of the day, you can't digitise the very soul, the very essence of music.
You could try.
But ultimately, put that slab of vinyl in front of us. And that's something, you know, you came through the Maiden era, a couple of fantastic albums. And I'm guilty, and I wrote this in a review, that once Bruce left, even before you replaced, I disconnected. And it wasn't until the Cobblestones and Stone Deaf in 21 that I reconnected with that, your era of Maiden. I'm guilty to saying this, but I found there was some sort of healing process in a funny sort of way.
Well, I think that the girlfriend or partner analogy is the best. It's when your girlfriend or boyfriend leaves you for someone and they are perhaps slimmer, with more hair, more interesting and better looking. It doesn't feel good. So and you lose your favourite singer from your favourite band, and I think that's awkward as well. So there's a certain percentage of fans from that era. I'm their first Maiden singer, and I always will be, and they'll always have that affection for me. But there's another group of fans who go, my favourite singer left my favourite band, I don't want to I don't want to look at the replacement.
I didn't even think about the name, it was just bump. And I feel quite genuinely...
I think that's true of a lot of people.
Yeah.
And what is good is that after so many years and a Senjutsu album coming out, people have gone back and they've looked at the Blaze Bayley era of Best of the Beast and Sign of the Cross.
Yeah, the X Factor.
X Factor.
Edward the 11th. And
they've done that, and they come back with a different look, and then they check out what I'm doing now. Since Maiden, I've made 11 studio albums of my own.
Yeah.
It's over 25 years ago. It's nearly 30 years.
It's the longest part of your career, in fact.
So it's just 5 years.
Yeah.
You know, with Wolfsbane, we're back together, and we're together longer than I was in Iron Maiden. Yeah. So it's nice that it's so well thought of and people are still interested, but I learnt a lot. The experiences that I had have affected me, and I've learned. And if you listen to my War Within Me album, my new album, you can tell the Iron Maiden influence on that. You can absolutely tell there. I'm not ashamed of it. I'm like, well, this is what I enjoyed and learnt in Maiden, and you'll hear parts of that and hints of that in the War Within Me album. You'll also hear the development of me as an artist going beyond that. So it's nice that people are still interested in that brief part of the Maiden history that contains me, and a lot of people think very nicely of me, but there are still a lot of people that absolutely hate me.
And I can't understand that, but it took the Stone Deaf gig in 21 to open my eyes and thought, Gary, you've been an absolute idiot. You've disconnected for something just because. And there was no real rationale to it. And that set, you know, when you played the Klansman and it's like, you know, the hair's down your back of your neck and you think, I was wrong. And you put your hands up and say, you know,
what's nice is that when I do my anniversary set list, which a lot of festivals asked for, then I can play songs in my set that from those two albums that Maiden have never played and will never play, and they're my songs, personal to me. So that's really, really cool. So if you did get into those albums and you like those albums,
I love them, then
you'll come and see me and go, oh, actually, I've never heard Como Estás live. Como Estás Amiga. So it's a really cool thing. And we did last year, we got a lot of really wonderful German festivals, and we played the anniversary set list. And then afterwards, on my own tour, people came that saw me on that anniversary set list at the festivals, and they came and saw me do my Blaze Bayley concerts and really enjoyed it, and then got into War Within Me album and my trilogy and a lot of things. So it's good, really. And I think I'm very lucky to have actually had the top job in my field, to have attained the absolute top. For me, I wanted to be a heavy metal singer, and by, I don't know, some quirk of fate, a lot of luck and a lot of help, then I managed to become the lead singer of Iron Maiden, which for me is the top job in the world for a heavy metal singer to get, and I got that job. So that's fantastic that I was able to get that, and I played huge venues all over the world and stadiums and theatres and everything. But even then, working with those guys, it's all about the music.
Yeah.
And where I'm so lucky is I'm now a full-time professional heavy metal singer doing my own music. I own my own record label. I'm completely independent. I'm tiny, but I'm totally independent, and playing the venues that I choose to play. If the venue doesn't care about the sound, I never go back there. If they treat the fans badly, I never go back there. So I choose where I want to play. And the most important thing to me is feeling that music. And when I'm writing my songs, I actually know the people that I'm writing them for, because there's a free meet and greet at the end of every Blaze Bayley concert. So I actually meet my fans and talk to them, and they'll tell me the stories about how they got into Blaze Bayley and how they got into my music and what different things lyrics mean, and how they came through Wolfsbane or came through Iron Maiden and different things like that. And it's very, very humbling, and I'm very privileged and very grateful that I'm able to do what is still my dream job, being a full-time heavy metal singer. It's a fantastic feeling. You know, I'm tiny, I'm small, I'm down there, I'm not even in the league of the big bands. But to me, and to my fans that support me and follow me and make it possible, then it's everything.
Yeah, you've not lost that sense of connect, the essence of the soul of it all, and that's really quite important. And that sense of you're very humble.
Well, you probably think that because you don't know me.
Well, it's just judging how, you know, what you're expressing and such like, and that's what comes across. And I'm sure that's what comes across to the people that are going to be watching this video. You know, you've got the sense of connect with your past and your future, and you've got a pretty damn fine pen, because on that album, the last one you released, War Within Me, you wrote about some really quite different subjects, you know, the Scientist trilogy. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, it's 3 scientists. I've always been interested in science and science fiction, and I think the reason is because in science you're understanding how things work, and as a child I always used to take apart my toys to see how they worked, the motorised ones at least. So it's Stephen Hawking, the unstoppable Stephen Hawking, because with that terrible disease that he had, it didn't affect his brain, his mind, his intelligence. And for me, to survive when you've been told you've got 3 years to live, and then to just keep going and going, and to be so clever that you can learn to communicate without even having a voice or being able to move properly, that's a real hero. I can't imagine getting through that. And when people said to Stephen Hawking, well, how do you get through? When other disabled people said, he said, think about the things that you can do. And I've taken that on board, and that's a part of that song, The Unstoppable, Stephen Hawking. And then one song is about Alan Turing, and it's Alan Turing dreams of thinking machines. Because, of course, in World War II, we don't know how much Alan Turing contributed to saving this country, but he cracked that Enigma code and he dreamed of intelligent machines. The problem is that for that machine to prove that it's intelligent, it has to lie. And that's what I thought was very, very interesting, that the machine has to deceive the human into thinking the machine is human. That the human is talking to a human. It's deception. And so, with AI coming and AI being here, the very first thing, the Turing test, which is the standard test to judge AI, it's a lie. You're asking the machine to be immoral and tell a lie. And then the other scientist is Nikola Tesla, who he built the very first hydroelectric power at Niagara Falls in Westinghouse, and discovered so much, a three-phase motor, and he practically invented AC/DC current and all of that. And I wonder, he was run over by a taxi in his 80s in New York City, and went slightly mad talking to pigeons. But I wonder if the funding had come, if he'd have been supported in the right way, his ideas, perhaps that abundant, free energy that exists in nature could have been harnessed, and we wouldn't have this dreadful global warming situation.
But it makes it, there's a lot of food for thought there, definitely, and that's what I love about the lyrics. But you've not lost the sense of your identity from your roots. Wolfsbane are back out on tour.
Yeah, we're coming back. We have the Wolfsbane tour. There, we'll be back at the Patriot on the 24th of November this year. The new album is called Genius. It's all the original lineup from the first album, and it always has been with Wolfsbane, just saying. And we started in 1984. We are old, but we're still good.
A few knocks along the road, and Jace has had a
Jace is coming back now. He's coming back. He broke his back, and when he went to hospital to get the treatment for the broken back, they discovered cancer.
Yeah.
And then in the middle of a tour, and he's been able to have treatment for that. It's a very rare cancer. He's been able to have treatment for that, and he's slowly coming back, and will be on tour in November and December this year with our new album, Genius. If you like the old Wolfsbane, you'll love the new Genius album, because when we were together in the room, which was just as you were able and allowed to be together in a room, then we were like, oh, that sounds like we used to do it. Oh, let's do it anyway.
Well, fuck it,
let's just do it. He said, it sounds great. So what if it sounds like the old thing?
Yeah, absolutely. And you're in the midst of a really hectic touring schedule with your lads in Absolver.
Yeah, we're on tour right now, and we keep going right through until November, when I start with Wolfsbane.
That is awesome. Blaze, absolute privilege. Thank you ever so much.
Thank you.